Hi, I'm Bill Black from Spirit River. It's my pleasure to show you how to tie a Royal Wulff. This is a rather complicated fly with a fairly high degree of difficulty, but I think you can master it if you watch this video and if you look at the instructions. Spirit River offers kits, and we have many of these tying kits, about 20 to be exact, with some very, very popular flies. This is a Royal Wulff created by Wulff. There's a little story on the back of this. This kit comes complete with all the materials, and that's the exact materials I'm going to use to tie this fly. And this is a dry fly. It sits on top of the surface. It's considered an attractor fly, meaning it's big and bushy and floats well. It's easy for the angler to see, but more importantly, it attracts the fish. What we're going to start with is your hook and the vise. It needs to be in there good and strong. We're going to start with some 6/0 dry fly thread. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay a base down of thread, preparing for the wings, okay? Now, so I just cut that off of the calf tail right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to match these tips up. Now you can see I've got some really wild little tips here. So I get rid of those. Now I want this wing to be about the length of the shank, so I'm measuring it. I'm going to go here up between my fingers and down the normal basic fly tying rule, and then I'm going to lift this up and clip it. I got most of it. I'm going to do it again. And I don't want to clip it straight. I want to clip it at an angle, and you'll see why in a minute. Now what I want to do here is I want to go around with my thread and slowly start lifting that wing up. Okay, so now I've created a little post. And a parachute is done like this too, where you lift up that post and you wrap your hackle around it this way. But today we're doing a standard dry fly wing with this calf tail. So I basically split this wing with my scissors, and I'm going to go through here and I'm going to do a figure 8. Okay, you try to keep these as even as you can, and then I'm going to go around each wing with my thread once or twice. Now is the chance to get rid of some of this weird stuff, that all these little fibers and hairs. Okay, now what I really like to do here is I like to put a little drop of super glue right here between the wings, and that'll go down and absorb down into all that calf tail. Okay, now we're going to head back towards the rear of the fly, and we're going to create the tail. The tail's done with a little bit of elk hair. Here again, you take the elk hair, clip it. If you have a stacker like this, you can drop it in there. In fact, I'll show you how to do that. You want to clean out the base of that elk hair, get rid of all those little fibers that help keep the elk warm. If you whack this a few times, if you stack it a few times, when you pull it out, all that hair is going to be nice and even. Okay? The other thing you can do if you don't have a stacker like that, you can put your fingers in a triangle like that, and you can stack it actually against the palm of your hand. Back when I was a kid, before anybody invented a stacker, that's how we used to do it. Okay, so now it's time to put this tail on. I've got a little bit too much material. I'm going to strip a little of this material off. I've also got a couple little broken tips, which is real common with a fine piece of elk hair like this. Okay, what I want is I want this to stick out the back about that length. So right now I'm actually kind of measuring it. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take a couple loose wraps, and I can see how that looks. That looks pretty good. That's about the right length. Okay, so you've got your shank right here, and I've got about the same length sticking out of the tail. Now I cinch it up tight, and notice how I also try to match the tip of that elk tail to the calf. Right there, okay? So I'm going to go around here, and if you pull that really tight, sometimes that tail will flare. But if you take a couple little looser wraps, That kind of brings it back together. Next, I'm going to take a piece of peacock that I've pulled out. And I'm going to tie that in. I'm just going to take 1, 2, maybe 3 wraps of peacock. And then I kind of push that peacock forward and kind of get it out of the way. And they call this a Royal Wulff for the reason it was created by Mr. Wulff, but also the royal part is because it's got a red sash. It's got a little bump there. I'm trying to get rid of that bump. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to go around a few times here on this. I'm going to clip that guy off. Save that because you've got plenty of material to tie a couple more flies. Now I bring the thread forward. And here I'm going to use the rest of that peacock. There. Now, I've just created a Royal Wulff body, which is over the top of that tail. You've got peacock, red floss, or this flex floss that we have in the kit. You can use wool, you could probably use dubbing, and then another piece of peacock. So it's actually kind of a 3-part body. Next we take a hackle, and the hackles are in different sizes because there's different sizes in the kit. But what you want to do is wrap your feathers underneath to see how long they are. You want these 1.5 to 2 times this gape. So you're going to want your hackle to stick down about like that. And if you look at this one, it pretty much does that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip that. I'm going to save all the hackle I can. It's rather expensive and hard to get. Okay, I'm going to tie this in. I'm going to bring my thread forward. Okay, now I'm going to start wrapping this hackle around. Wolves are famous for being very fully dressed, and what I mean by that is, not that they're naked or anything, but they use a lot of materials. So I've gone ahead and tied that off. I've cut back my, pushed back my head materials. Give myself a little bit of room here. And I'm going to go in here and whip finish this. Oh, this is a gorgeous fly. My wings are nice and tight, the body's good. Now just to make sure that this never comes undone, I'm going to go in here, strip it back a little bit. And there again, I'm going to put a little drop of super glue, careful not to put it inside the eye. If you do, you can take a piece of your old peacock or your hackle and run it down in there. I'd use peacock because that's pretty inexpensive. That is a Royal Wulff. I would ask that you support Spirit River and our products. We're a small, homegrown, family-owned company in Oregon with just a few employees, and we're doing our best to make sure fly tying is enjoyable for everybody. We really appreciate all you've done and all your support over the years. Enjoy the craft of fly tying and go catch fish. Thanks.